Virgo season is really going to fortify these other energies into us. Hey y'all, welcome to Meryl's Mystic. I'm Meryl, and I empower witches, bitches, and dudes to complete themselves in order to have healthier soulmate relationships and more purposeful lives. And I'm also a tarot psychic medium, and I connect with the universe and the spirit world to bring you any messages that you may need to help navigate the ever-changing energy in on this crazy blue ball that we're flying through space on together. Welcome to my channel. If you've never been here before, I'm so happy you're here. If you've been here before and you're returning, I'm also happy you're here. Thank you so much for your support. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, share with your friends, cross-watch. For the tarot scopes, I always recommend that you watch for your sun, moon, and rising sign. These are general readings, so the messages might not always land with you, and that's okay. You can leave them for someone else and wait for the messages that are meant for you. So today we are here to talk about Virgo season. Happy birthday, Virgos. I think we'll probably need a little bit of grounding after Leo season, although it was a really fun, fulfilling Leo season, and I hope that you got some of the Leo season magic in your world. And it's still time. There's still time. You can still go and watch your Leo season tarot scopes if you haven't. We definitely are going to have some of the fun, unapologetic energy carrying into Virgo season. So Virgo season goes from August 22nd, the evening of the 22nd, maybe the 23rd where you are, to September 21st. And so in the northern hemisphere, this is the end of summer and it is the end of winter in the southern hemisphere. And so Virgo season is a mutable sign, and mutable signs always come at the end of the earthly seasons. And then we have an Aquarius. Well, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. First, right before Virgo season turned to Virgo season, the evening before into the morning after, the 21st to the 22nd, is our second Aquarius full moon. And if you haven't watched the replay of the Aquarius full moon live, definitely go check out the energy reading for what the Aquarius full moon is. The second Aquarius full moon is bringing us. Leo season was bookended by these Aquarius full moons, and since it's literally pretty much happening the same day that Virgo season switches over, it's within the same 12-hour period that these energies are all transitioning. It's gonna carry a lot of that Aquarius energy, and some of the Leo energy that played with the Aquarius energy of being our unapologetic weird selves, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Some other dates that you'll need to remember is Venus went into Libra on August 16th and will be there until September 10th. Now, Venus rules Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. And so when planets are always in their ruling sign, they affect us much more powerfully. And when Venus is in Libra, it really has us prioritizing our emotions when it comes to relationships, not just romantic relationships, and really, I feel like I just heard love languages, and so I could see that this is a time where we're really going to be exploring what our love languages are, and also how do we communicate that to others. The Venus in Libra will be helping us communicate our boundaries also. Any of these forms of self-love, or how we love each other, how we love each other, how we want to be loved, all that kind of stuff is really going to be stirred up for those couple weeks, or It's just under a month. Next, the Virgo new moon is Tuesday, September 7th, and there will be a live probably like that Friday or Saturday before. Keep an eye on my social media to find out. And then we will have our full moon in Pisces right at the end of Virgo season on September 20th, which is interesting because we're going to really have kind of like a very Virgo-y Virgo season, since the full moon, a lot of the time the full moon can kind of help break up the energy of the season and can give us a nice balance to it. But we're having these moments now where the full moons are coming at the end of the season, so it's kind of like a highlight. So I'm very curious to see how this Virgo season, how the next month is kind of, I have a feeling the energy is going to kind of build up to this full moon. So all this Virgo energy is really we're still playing off of the energy from the season before. It's the theme of this year. And we're coming off of this very strong Leo Aquarius energy from Leo season, and it's being brought into Virgo season by this last Aquarius full moon. The Aquarius full moon is helping bring over this Leo season energy that was really highlighted by these Aquarius moons, and this energy of being our unapologetic self, being, even if it looked weird from the outside, and really like accepting who we are. And from Cancer season we got like, what do we really want and who are we really? And now in Virgo season, it's really about like just standing in that place, standing in who you are. I think Virgo energy sometimes can be overlooked because a lot of Virgos can appear to be introverted, or they can kind of stand off in the back. They like to be supporting players. And because it's just after Leo season, which is a very expansive energy, there is more of a contracting energy in Virgo season. And I think Virgo energy and Virgos in general can sometimes be easily overlooked because they all appear always to like have their shit together. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't that be great? Which, I have a Virgo moon, and so I have noticed that people are like, man, you really seem like you have your shit together. I'm like, well, at least it seems like I do. Maybe one day reality will catch up. So, but the really valuable thing about Virgos and Virgo energy is that they're an earth sign, and that they're usually very solid people. They usually already know what they want and what they're working towards, and they seem to be able to effortlessly balance like all the parts of their life. And so we really, that's the part of Virgo that we really need right now, especially after maybe some of the transitions or sacrifices that you felt you've been making this year in order to really step into who you are and to show up as the fullest embodiment of yourself. We really need this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Virgo season is really going to fortify these other energies into us. So you can still go back and look at your Leo season tarot scopes. You can even go back and look at Cancer tarot scopes, because you really needed to know what Cancer season was bringing you in order to tap into Leo season, and then in Virgo season, that's all getting fortified within us. So it really doesn't matter when you watch these things, you get the messages when you're supposed to get the messages. So it really is kind of it's just about, and the word boundaries kind of kept coming up, but it's more than that. We were already setting boundaries at the beginning of this journey, we've already had a lot of this energy of like setting boundaries, and this is more just the boundaries are already set. It's about maintaining them. It's about holding those boundaries. It's about holding ourselves accountable for the intentions that we've set, and not allowing ourselves or others to take advantage of that. So another piece of this about boundaries and holding ourselves accountable is our rituals and our habits. And this started coming up with the Leo full moon, that we really needed to start looking closer at not just like our rituals and our routines, because we all need routine in a certain way, but it's also like our habits within our routines and the things that we are doing on autopilot, and we just do them all the time because we're used to it, and a lot of that stuff like you have to continue doing. But we also should be recognizing maybe the habits we formed that aren't really serving us anymore. The routines we've created that aren't setting us up for success. So this is really about like self-responsibility, because that's another quality associated with Virgo, responsibility. They are an earth sign. They know how to show up. They know how to get things done. They know how to make plans. So they're can-do people. They just do it in such a subtle way that unless you have a Virgo close to you that you know, you probably wouldn't even like realize like who the Virgos are. I always feel like it's a lot of times earth signs always surprise you that they're earth signs. Because most earth signs have a good sense of humor too, but they're naturally supportive people when they're not in their shadow, at least. But we all have a shadow. It's for every sign. Every sign has a light and a shadow side. So we're trying to focus on the light side of this energy. But there's always lessons that come with this energy also. And that brings us to our tarot card of the season, which is the Hermit. Virgo is associated with the Hermit card in the Major Arcana, and this is part of like why I feel like Virgo can get a bad rap, because they can easily isolate and be introverted. But I know a lot of Virgos that once you get them out of their shell, they're like out of their shell and they're like, we're gonna do this now. And so with the Hermit, and this is really great for this season, because the Hermit is all about like learning also. It's represented by a masculine figure. And if you notice that they are actually on top of a mountain here, like looking down on creation. And then you see the light in their lantern, and then the staff is actually very symbolic also. Staffs have been used as symbols in all sorts of beliefs and religions for a long time, and it's a symbol of like the way shower, the leader of the person that knows the way. And then we have the like literal light representation of light, and that's also of idea. And the thing about the Hermit is that, knowledge is power for sure, and Virgo is not a dummy at all. I feel like it's very rare to find a struggling Virgo. We're all human though. And the thing about the Hermit is though that the Hermit has to come out of their cave eventually. You can't just like hoard all this knowledge and education to yourself. You have to share it eventually. That is like a big lesson and message of the Hermit. And when it comes to this Virgo season, it's really great because we're having it highlighted by this Libra in Venus, and we're carrying over our lessons from Cancer and Leo season. And so, and this has all been about learning about ourselves, really, and learning about like how we are with people, and how we are with ourselves, and how we are in the world. And now it's time to fortify that and stand in it. And see, they're standing strong. They're looking down like, oh, there's probably some people I should let know what's going on. So it is about that, about being honest too about these things that we've learned about ourselves with those around us. So that's the general overview for Virgo season. Please be sure to follow me at Meryl's Mystic on all platforms so that you can dive deeper with me throughout the season. I do a live for the new moon and the full moon, and then those energy overviews will be posted on YouTube. Cool. Let's get into your Taroscopes. Hey Aries, good to see you. So happy you're here. Let's see what Virgo season has in store for you. We just did Pisces, and I think I said Libra season at the beginning, and then Libra season actually came up in their reading, so that was really cool. But anyway, let's talk about you, Aries, and what Virgo season is bringing for you. Ooh, there are big things happening for Virgo season for a lot of people, and it's big good things. So we have the Temperance and the Hermit in reverse. So let's talk about this. So Temperance is the first card, and it can represent Sagittarius, and then the Hermit, as we just learned, is Virgo. So Virgo season is gonna be like a turning point for you, is what it feels like. And it feels like it's gonna be, it's interesting. I got this kind of feeling of balance, but being thrown off balance. Like you could easily feel like you're gonna be thrown off balance, but it ends up being that, like, that's actually gonna bring more balance to your life. Like, does that make sense? It's like when we think things are happening to us, they're actually happening for us. So if you do have Sagittarius or Virgo close to you, then this could also mean for you that this Libra and Venus could end up bringing up some like relationship issues possibly, or just a need to examine like what your relationship is with these people, or what does it mean, or what do you need from them, or how do they look. It just feels like if this is related to people in your life, it just is gonna kind of put your relationships with them under a microscope for a little while, and then and that will only be until September 10th. So the thing about Temperance is that it is the combining of two different elements or forces that don't seem like they should be able to go together, and the way to alchemize that. And so that's what I mean when, like, we think things are happening to us, they're actually happening for us. There's these books called, oh my gosh, now I can't even think of what it is. The Celestine Prophecy. There's two of them. And a lot of that, the story about the Celestine Prophecy, because it's fiction, non-fiction, it's hard to describe. They're kind of spiritual, but the story of this gentleman pursuing finding the Celestine prophecies, or living them out and discovering them. He's constantly in these situations that seem like he's screwed. Like, to the point of, like, being, you know, stalked by cops or being kidnapped by thugs, like, not thugs, but, like, the bad guy. But then there's always something that comes from it. Like, there was literally at one point, him and his friends, like, get arrested, and you know, and they don't know what they're gonna do, but the place they end up being taken to is the place where, like, their other friends are at, that they needed to, like, meet up with. So it is very much like this seemingly mundane serendipity, or like it's like seemingly screwed serendipity, where something's happening and it's gonna seem like it's the worst thing ever. It's gonna be like, oh my god, this is just gonna, like, totally throw my whole life for a loop. It could easily, like, feel like a tower moment, but it's not going to be an actual tower moment. It is actually there to move things around and, like, to get you into a place where you're supposed to be, because it feels like there's been resistance to getting to that spot. And so the universe is literally, like, trying to, like, carry you, push you into the place where you're supposed to be. So be open to that. So when you are in these situations and it's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Like, I'm fucked. I mean, you literally feel like that. You have to catch yourself and be like, okay, all right, it sucks right now, but it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out. Like, it's gonna be okay. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. This is all happening for me, not to me. It's happening for me, not to me. Two of Cups. This is interesting. It makes me feel like what I was saying earlier too. If you're an Aries with Sagittarius and Virgo close to you in your life, there is something about, like, your relationships being either tested or strengthened in the next couple weeks to a month. There could also be maybe, like, some new partnerships. Two of Cups very rarely comes out, so maybe you are supposed to meet a Sag or a Virgo, and because those would be very good energies for you. Virgo could be very balancing. Sagittarius is a fire sign, so you would get along really great. And this could be any relationship. These folks on here are very non-binary, so it could easily be a friendship, a partnership, family members, anything like that. But again, it's like being open to that, because it feels like there's just this huge resistance with Temperance and the Hermit. In reverse, it's like you're like, no, I just want to stay right where I am. I'm fine. It's great. I'm good. And they're like, are you though? Like, aren't there these other things that you really want? Like, maybe money. Ace of Pentacles in reverse and the Page of Pentacles. So what do we really want? There's, like, some things in your physical sphere that you really want and that you're trying to work towards. And money and wealth is the first thing that comes to mind with these two guys, because and you might need a business partnership for that. There might be somebody around you already who is a Virgo or a Sagittarius that would, like, love to be in some sort of partnership with you in, like, a business sense. And there's also, like, we're trying to get in this collaboration mindset about our success. So again, with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it feels like you're like, no, I'm good. I don't need that. I'm fine. I'm just blessed to have what I have. I get it. I really do. Because there's so many people hurting and suffering in this world right now, and so it can feel so selfish when we want more from our lives, especially when we already recognize how lucky and privileged and blessed we are with what we do have. But it does feel like the universe is trying to give you some sort of opportunity that is going to contribute to your future. And when you're able to build actual wealth, like this feels like giving you opportunity to actually build wealth for something to be built and with longevity that can go reach far into the future. The more abundance you have, the more you can share it with others. So maybe you're in a good place now for yourself, and that's great, but maybe what's missing out of your long-term goals and why you're like, oh, I just feel so selfish for like wanting more money or wanting to advance at work or, just advance in life. But we forget that the more we are evolved, the more abundance and wealth we acquire, the more our impact is in the world. And so it might be time for you to sit down and write down like the things that you would give to. If you had more money, who would you just give it to? Who do you want to help? And then in that sense, it's not selfish. It's actually vital for you to grow so that you can have a better, bigger impact on the world in general. That was something my business coach, Shireen's son, with Wild Heart, Radiant Wild Heart, and that was one of her big things about helping us get over our money blocks, was like, okay, you're building this business, how are you going to contribute? What's your impact going to be? And that put my goals into perspective, and it made me realize I'm not being selfish by wanting to grow. I'm actually contributing, your ripple effect gets bigger and you're contributing to others, not just yourself. Cool. Aries, let me know if you have any questions. Queen of the Moon Oracle, Stacy DeMarco. Love these cards. Oh, that one's already fallen out. I don't know. Shoot, I don't know if that was the one. I lost it, y'all. Let's try again. One more. Ooh, two. Purity and self-love. Purity and self-love. Interesting. The snow moon for purity. The crescent, one of the waxing crescents for self-love. Okay, purity. Look for the simplest and cleanest solution. Understand your motives for doing what you are doing. Be as clear as possible in your communication. The mantra is, the affirmation is, I know why I do what I do. See, so you do need to know why you do what you do and why you want what you want. I know why I do what I do. I know why I do what I do. I'm trying to sing these. I don't know if it's working, but I want to. The word purity now seems to have a kind of loaded moral quality. Anytime I mention the word, people mostly think about how it's used in religions or in morals. For example, the purity of virgins, the purity of no sex before marriage, the purity of celibacy, the purity of bloodline of certain extreme right-wing groups. No wonder we use the word with some trepidation. The purity I refer to here is the purity of the silver moon on the unmarked snow. The simple purity of intention that nature demonstrates. The purity of clean water in a mountain stream. The purity of one single purpose. The Cambridge Dictionary defines this kind of purity as being clean or free from harmful substances. And I guess in our world, so full of pollution and damage to the environment, that may well be hard to find. However, the ancients looked at the cycles that brought ice and snow as a sort of reset button, a time when everything lay fallow for a while and brought with it a kind of simplicity. These times were hard, but if we were prepared for them, we would survive. There are good reasons to strive for a kind of positive purity in our lives. Being precise with our language and as clear as we can be in our communications means fewer miscommunications and misunderstandings in our relationships and work life. Keeping our intentions pure and unattained with lower energies, such as jealousy, revenge, or unworthiness, as much as possible means that our motivations are pure and not muddy in their reasoning. Companion stone is clear quartz. Cool. That was actually, I was like, purity, where are we going with this? That was actually really good. You do need to know your intentions. And we did talk about, like, what could be happening in your relationships. And this Venus in Libra is going to really be having us look at that. And it seems like that this season's going to be a little bit of a turning point for you. Yeah, this season's going to be a little bit of a turning point for you. Okay, self-love. Radical self-love is necessary. Empowerment starts from the inside out. Do not compare yourself to others. Start your change with focus and love of self. The affirmation is, every day I bring radical self-love to body, mind, and spirit. Every day I bring radical self-love to my body, mind, and spirit. Sometimes we feel we are not enough. Sometimes we are even told we are not enough by our own voice, the voices of others in our culture. Not smart enough, not pretty enough, not powerful enough, not talented enough, not good enough at what we choose to do, not ambitious enough, not experienced enough, not curvy enough, not thin enough, not glamorous enough, not porn star enough, not enough of a lady, not enough of a man. And as a result, all of this makes us not love ourselves enough. Then there is an opposite where we are too something. Too tall, too short, too fat, or too thin, too wrinkly, too pimply, too old, too young, too quiet, too mouthy, too noticeable, too opinionated, too much trouble, too greedy when you want to advance your life, too much, full stop. It is any wonder that many of us feel such self-loathing or dissatisfaction with the self. Please just stop. Put your blinkers on. Breathe. Be with yourself. Do ritual. Speak to the goddess or god or whatever energy floats your boat and ask for help. Yes, indeed. Listen to any or all of the crazy misdemeanors that your mind may throw at you. But then hug these untruths like a crying puppy and soothe the reasons they are there. Know that you are doing the best you can do right now, that you are not your past, and you can soothe yourself, and most importantly, you can move on. Know that this comparison craziness is just a diversion from knowing yourself really well and discovering amazing, delicious aspects of yourself that are entirely satisfying. Focus on you, not others, and discover where you really might like change. If anywhere or anything for your own personal benefit, if anywhere or anything for your own personal benefit, not for some outward measure of enoughness. True power and happiness comes from the inside out, like an unfurling spiral. Woe is the person who relies on the opinions of others to gain happiness and self-measure. Choose radical self-love. Choose you. Companion stone, rose quartz. So you need a lot of quartz. Clear quartz, rose quartz. I don't know if there's much else to say. I feel like those two were a perfect little boost, like, to what the original messages were. Like, I think sometimes Aries, like a lot of people, can appear like they're choosing themselves, but I think too a lot of the time you can make yourself small and not admit to yourself how much you want to grow. So they're really having you look at what you really want, and there might be some things that shake you up to get you there. All right. Good luck. Good to see you. And I will see you for Libra season. Bye.